Well, in the latest reports coming in, one person is still believed to be holed up inside the apartment in Saint Denis in the northern suburbs of Paris, where an encounter is going on at the moment. 3 suspects have been killed and 5 others have been arrested during that fierce encounter in Saint Denis in the Paris suburbs. Reports also suggest that the French police believe the mastermind of the Paris attacks, Abdelhamid Abaoud, and another attacker, Saleh Abdussalam, are both in Saint Denis. Reports also suggest that a woman wearing a suicide vest has been killed in the encounter. The neighborhood has been sealed off and people have been requested to stay indoors. All public transport has been suspended and the metro linked to that area has been shut. Schools and colleges in the center of Saint Denis will also remain closed for the day. Now, the mayor of that area has already requested people living in that area to remain indoors. However, as Deputy Editor Smita Sharma was getting us the latest from there, a lot of people are indeed stepping out onto the streets out of curiosity, some trying to connect with their family, which is still inside that area, while they have been cordoned off outside.
Well, let's talk about that massive police operation that was carried out by the French security forces in the northern Paris suburb of Saint Denis. Just to explain where exactly the entire raid is taking place. Well, this is the area. It's a commercial street. It also hosts, many bars and restaurants. It's a very, very popular place. It's actually a pedestrian street. And this is where probably the entire cordoning off of the street has taken place. We've seen a huge presence of security personnel, ambulances. We've seen some vehicles of the security forces also there, and it's in one of these apartment buildings where the suspects are believed to be holed up. Remember, gunshots were heard in the early hours, and it took everybody by surprise. And initially it was the eyewitnesses who came out and said that they had heard exchange of gunfire. As you can see, there are shops on both the sides of the street, because it is a commercial street. It also plays host to a lot of restaurants and shops. A lot of people and tourists walk through the streets, but right now it has been completely blocked. It has been cordoned off. People have been asked to stay away. In fact, all the residents have also been evacuated from the adjoining buildings. This locality also has, 2 schools. It also has the very famous Basilica of Saint Denis. It's a building of, unique importance, both historically and architecturally as well. So this is, Saint Denis, which is a place in the northern suburb of Paris. It's also very close to the, Stade de France Stadium, which also saw suicide bombings, and that is why this area assumes much significance. And this is exactly where all the action has been taking place, and where the suspects are believed to have been holed up in one of the rented apartments where that police operation is currently going on.
Meanwhile, my colleague Smita Sharma, who's at ground zero right now, sent us this report from Saint Denis. Let's cut across now to that.
We have now come out to the Saint Denis area from another spot. As you can see, camera persons as well as, of course, the security forces there, the personnel deployed. This is the residential area that we are talking about. A certain perimeter has been cordoned off. Let me try and get in a word with this gentleman here who happens to be from Bangladesh and who was, who is in this neighborhood. Sir, क्या नाम है आपका और कहाँ रहते हैं आप?
मेरा नाम अमीनुल इस्लाम है. मैं कारीपू के पास मेरा घर है. सुबह 3:30 बजे तक ज्यादा आवाज आया, गोली का आवाज, बम की आवाज. बाद में घर से सुबह काम पर जाती है. आज काम पर नहीं जाया, मेट्रो में बंद है.
कितने दूर में है आपका घर यहाँ इस एरिया से?
आधा किलोमीटर.
अच्छा,
आधा किलोमीटर दूर है.
तो क्या एक जोर का धमाका हुआ था, गोलियों की आवाज हुई थी, क्या हुआ?
ज्यादा गोली का आवाज, जोर का धमाका, बम फट गया.
I will try and ask Sylvain to zoom in a little. As you can see this road, the elite French commandos as well, the French police, all of them here deployed in high numbers. Aerial surveillance through helicopters was also being conducted. There were intermittent, in fact, shootings that could be heard. It started at around 4:30 to 4:45 local time. That's when the first gun exchanges were heard in this area, which is just around 2 kilometers away from Stade de France, which was targeted on Friday evening through the suicide bombings. Let me get back to this gentleman here. So ये बताइए कि आप लोग के इस एरिया में कौन से वो घर हैं जो आपको लगता है जहाँ पर ये लोग छिपे हुए होंगे, जहाँ से हमले हो रहे होंगे?
इधर से थोड़ा दूर, ये आगे से थोड़ा दूर है. उधर ज्यादा साउंड हुआ, गोली के साउंड, बम की साउंड। सुबह भी हुआ 8:30 बजे, 8:08 बीच में।
तो अभी आपको क्या लग रहा है, ऑपरेशंस अभी भी जारी है? क्योंकि हमें कुछ खबर मिल रही थी कि उन लोगों को मार गिराया गया है।
अभी भी ऑपरेशन चलती है। ऑपरेशन खत्म नहीं हुआ।
अच्छा।
कितना बजे खत्म हो जाएगा पता नहीं।
Tube stations, buses that were plying in this area, they have been closed for the moment. If Sylvia can try and just show in closer shots, all those apartments there, most of them, in fact, the residents have been advised by the mayor here to stay indoors. Some of them at around 6:30, we did see trying to come out, taking their dogs out for a walk, or people who wanted to open restaurants. Europeans are known for early starts as far as their day is concerned. But the operations, as of now, we haven't heard gunfire, at least in the last 10 minutes that we've been in this area. But till the time the combing, the search operations are not over, till the time one is not sure that all the suspects have been brought down in that apartment where they've been holed up, the forces will not march in and start combing operations. The priority is clearly also about trying to minimize civilian damage and civilian casualties here.
Talking about the attackers, Abdul Hamid Aboud, he is supposed to be the mastermind of this attack. The other people that we are talking about who are part of this operation: Ahmad Al Muhammad, who's dead; Bilal Hadafi, who's again dead; Ibrahim Abdul Salam died in that attack; Ismail Omar Mustafi died in the attack on Friday; Salah Abdul Salam, like Aboud, also on the loose at the moment, one of the masterminds of that attack; Sami Amamur dead. Now one unidentified unknown person, one of the attackers, dead, and another one is supposed to be on the loose at the moment. We do know that at least one attacker may have crossed over to Belgium. Details also coming in that the first woman suspect has been killed in the Paris encounter that started this morning. She was a woman suicide bomber. In fact, when the security forces approached that particular apartment where they believed all these attackers and masterminds were holed up, this woman is supposed to have opened fire using a Kalashnikov. Later, she blew herself up. She was wearing a vest. A suicide vest. Now the woman bomber is believed to be part of the Farah suicide bomber branch of Islamic State, or Daesh as is the Arabic acronym of Islamic State. The brutal jihadi group ISIS has been training an all-women battalion of suicide bombers in Syria. Sources inside the ISIS-held city of Raqqa say that the jihadis have turned to women to carry out training for deadly attacks. Muslim women are typically ideologically brainwashed and promised large amounts of money. Some of them are even wives and girlfriends of jihadis who already have died in suicide attacks. ISIS headhunters promise them that they will go to their husband in heaven if they become ISIS suicide bombers themselves. All right, on your television screens on the left-hand side, live visuals that we're getting from Saint Denis, a northern suburb of Paris, where operations have been going on since 4:30 in the morning Paris time. What we know up till now is that at least 3 suspects have been killed, including one suicide bomber who blew herself up. Apart from that, 5 arrests have been made. Smita Sharma, deputy editor who's on the ground, told us just a short while back that she has seen some fire brigades and ambulances rushing to the inner perimeter of the operations. Remember, the media has been asked and is cordoned off right outside to the outer perimeter. She saw some of those rushing in, which perhaps is an indication that the last leg of the operations could be on. What the security forces suspect is that in that particular apartment that we're talking about in Saint Denis, the mastermind Abdul Hamid Aboud could be holed up. Avantika Singh is now joining us to tell us more about who exactly Abdul Hamid Aboud is.
And now let's talk about the man who is alleged to be the mastermind behind those barbaric terror attacks that took place in France on Friday. Now, he is also the target of this massive police operation that we have been seeing in, the northern Paris suburb of Saint Denis. Now, this is the person who you're seeing, Abdel Hamid Abaoud. He is the mastermind of the Paris serial terror attacks. He has been on the run. He has been evading the police. He's a 27-year-old Belgian national, interestingly of Moroccan origin. Now, the news that we have about him is that he escaped police raid in Molenbeek, Belgium in January. Now, Molenbeek, interestingly, has also been in the news. It's a suburb in Belgium, in Brussels, in fact, and it also has a very huge population of immigrants from, the Arab world and also from North Africa. So Molenbeek really there gaining a lot of prominence, and we have seen, all the developments in Paris once again bringing back focus on, the threat that is being imposed by these jihadist networks that are operating from Belgium. And a little bit more about Abdel Hamid Abaoud. He literally was the liaison between the ISIS headquarters and European operations. So he was the coordinator between, the leadership of the ISIS and supporters in the European countries. He was linked to thwarted attack on trains in the month of August. He is somebody who has been, on the wanted list. There has been an international manhunt to nab him. He's also linked to plot an attack on the Paris church in the month of April as well. Well, Abaoud has, recruited Western fighters for ISIS. That's primarily what he's supposed to do to, find young people, radicalize them, influence them and try to get them into the terror outfit, just persuade them to join the Islamic State. And he says that, he was able to hoodwink the Western intelligence. He was able to escape after those deadly terror attacks. Well, Abaoud is also was reportedly stopped by the police after those Paris attacks, but he managed, to escape. He was allowed to go after nothing suspicious was found. And this was something, which really amazed a lot of people within the intelligence and the security forces. But clearly, the French President Francois Hollande, once again living up to his promise that he made to his people that he will hit back. And we have seen those retaliatory airstrikes. We'll just have to see what really comes out from that massive police operation that has been launched in the suburb of Saint Denis.
And clearly with that, you can get a sense of the fact that Abdel Hamid Abaoud, the alleged mastermind of the Paris attacks, claims that he had crossed over to the other side. However, what we also understand is that the operations that are going on in Saint Denis in the northern suburbs of Paris could be looking for this alleged mastermind himself. So there is not much clarity at the moment as to whether it is this particular person Abaoud who is holed up inside that apartment. Operation still on.
जहाँ तक याद आती रहेगी